Here's how so-called charities in the US are funding Israel's forced displacement of Palestinians. At least 50 nonprofits in the US funnel hundreds of millions of dollars to Israeli settler groups who are kicking Palestinians out of their homes. But because they're listed as charities in the US, the money they collect is tax-exempt. Critics say that means the US is effectively subsidizing war crimes against Palestinians. New York State Assembly member Zohran Mamdani is one of those critics.
The intent of these groups is to ensure that settlements become a permanent fixture and an expansion of Israeli territory, and that any Palestinians who live there currently are expelled from their homes.
Every year, such groups in New York State alone send at least $60 million to fund Israeli settlements, which are built on land from which Palestinians have been forcibly displaced. Reminder: all of Israel's settlements in the occupied West Bank and East Jerusalem are illegal under international law. Some US nonprofits are accused of sending money to groups with connections to the founder of the Jewish Defense League, which the FBI listed as a right-wing terrorist group in 2001. For some settler groups, donations from the US make up almost their entire funding.
For example, the Israel Land Fund, which was really leading the efforts to displace Palestinians from the neighborhood of Sheikh Jarrah. 99.2% of their funding in 2017 came from the New York registered charity known as the Central Fund of Israel.
The Central Fund of Israel gives almost $50 million a year to Israeli groups. It also gives money to an organization called Ateret Kohanim. That group is currently trying to forcibly displace about 700 Palestinians from their homes in Silwan, occupied East Jerusalem, and replace them with Israeli settlers. Under unequal Israeli law, Israeli settler groups can file legal challenges against Palestinian home ownership and force Palestinians out to build Israeli-only settlements. Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International say this dispossession and unequal treatment amounts to apartheid. Almost 1,000 Palestinians in occupied East Jerusalem are currently at risk of being forcibly displaced. CFI is also a major donor of Regavim, which was co-founded by Israel's far-right finance minister Bezalel Smotrich. The group petitions the Israeli government to raze Palestinian communities to the ground. Israel has already demolished the homes of over 500 Palestinians this year. Regavim is now trying to displace hundreds more from the Palestinian village Khan al-Ahmar. Reminder: forcibly transferring an occupied people and destroying their property are war crimes under international law.
It is ranging from setting agricultural land on fire, destroying schools in the occupied territories, demolishing buildings and homes.
Mamdani is trying to stop this happening with US money. He's sponsoring a bill to block tax-exempt charity donations from New York being used to unlawfully displace Palestinians and build illegal Israeli settlements. If passed, it would be the first US law to do so.
The definition of charitable purpose is very broad, but if that quote-unquote aid is being provided to individuals and activities that are clearly acting or are in violation of international law, specifically the Geneva Convention, then how can that be considered a charitable purpose?